Honorable panelists and ladies and gentlemen, warm good evening to all of you. Thank you to each one of you for being here with us today. We take this opportunity as a great privilege to be able to stand there and share the stage with such distinguished personalities. My name is Tanveer, and I welcome every one of you to the event, Navigating the Pandemic and Beyond, the new normal for HR. Thank you once again for being here with us today. When leaders throughout an organization take an active, genuine interest in the people they manage, when they invest real time to understand employees at a fundamental level, they create a climate for greater morale, loyalty, and yes, growth. And we did exactly that. We at AFour Technologies take pride in what we were able to achieve during the pandemic. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce to you to our distinguished panelist for today. He is someone who believes we do not need magic to change the world. We carry all the power we need inside ourselves already. We have the power to imagine better. He is someone who is having over 25 years of experience. He has been a driving force for engineering and delivery heads in building a customer focused teams with high values and principles. He is also driving HR teams to have a healthy and inquisitive product engineering team along with efficient support functions. He has been a pillar of success for AFour Technologies over the years. He is a bridge builder, pathfinder, and a true visionary who inspires people every day. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Mahesh Kulkarni, co-founder and MD at AFour Technologies.
you. Thank you, Tanvir.
Up next is someone who is a firm believer of the quote, the strength of the team is each individual member. The strength of each member is the team. She is someone who's having over 15 years of experience in human resource management. She is responsible for performance appraisal, compensation, training and development, policies and procedures, employee relationship management across the board. She has been successful in aligning great HR strategies with AFour's business goals. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Neha Chadda, Senior HR Manager at AFour Technologies. Some realize the self within the some realize the self within them through the practice of meditation, some by the path of wisdom, and others by selfless service. Others may not know these paths, but hearing and following the instructions of an illuminated teacher, they too go beyond death. While we all mull over the above quote, I would like to hand over the platform to our moderator for the day, Anirban Chakravarti, someone who believes that creativity is the father of invention, a marketer by profession, and an author of the book Expectation, Youth, and Parents, founder of two startups and a YouTuber. He heads the marketing and sales team at AFour Technologies.
Thank you, Tanveer. Thank you for the wonderful introduction there. I much appreciate it.
You're
A
welcome.
good evening to all of you once again. It is an utmost pleasure to be a part of this event today. My sincere gratitude to the esteemed panelists, Mr. Mahesh Kulkarni and Ms. Neha Chadda. I was having a conversation yesterday with a very dear friend of mine. I said, I want to suit up, please. Show me people, please. I was like, remember Ashish, pre-COVID days when traffic was abnormal? Yet it seems so normal now. He suddenly blurted out with a giggle, I have forgotten what it is like to wear jeans since I have been coding in my shorts and boxers for 12 months straight. While I could not control my laughter, I added, I seriously miss my usual morning rush of getting to work, dressing up for office, occasional excitement about pairing a new shoe with a dress or vice versa, saying good morning to everyone at the office, and obviously getting my strong coffee to start the day. How I miss being at work. As I mull over the conversation I had yesterday, I realized things have certainly changed. The year 2020 did hit us hard, with all its challenges. But 2020 also taught us how well we could adapt, change, and adjust to any situation. From the year 2020, we have learned that life cannot be lived without perseverance, hope, and positivity. We also learned that life would not be easy all the time. It will always throw challenges, and the onus will always be upon us if we succumb to the challenges thrown at us or come out of them as the ultimate winners. As a Harry Potter fan, I always remember the character Albus Dumbledore's words: happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, if only one remembers to turn on the light. The COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted global economies and businesses, and human resources has been at the heart of it. With organizations now on the cusp of recovery, the role of HR is becoming even more important. The questions are endless when it comes to envisioning the future, impact, and role of HR post COVID 19. One thing is for certain: the pandemic and its inherent effect on businesses has highlighted the need for adaptability and resilience in today's workforce, accelerated the shift towards a new digital economy, and accentuated the importance of HR in the new normal. From the start of the pandemic, HR teams have had to hone their organization agility to keep up with the quick, unexpected changes to their workplaces, namely a massive transition to remote work. As the pandemic continues to make the future of many businesses uncertain, prioritizing and taking care of employees has become paramount. HR has always been responsible for this in some way, but that responsibility has taken up a new meaning today. Now, I believe it's time to talk about navigating the pandemic and beyond, the new normal for HR, our topic for today. So let me begin this discussion with a common question to both the panelists present here today. And I must say, this question would help us understand some key elements and set the context for us to delve deeper into understanding the role of HR leaders during the ongoing pandemic. So now the question is, what do HR professionals need to do to be effective in today's and tomorrow's business world? I'd like to invite Mr. Mahesh Kulkarni to share his thoughts on the same. Mahesh, over to you, please.
Sure, Anirban. Thank you, Tanvir, for those kind introduction words. And Anirban, yeah, thank you for the opportunity to allow me to participate in this important and relevant discussion. It's a very relevant and good topic. To coming back to your question, see, HR is a people development function, isn't it? Right? It's mainly to do with the people. And since last 2 decades or more than 2 decades I've spent in IT industry, I'll talk more about IT industry, but in general, it is true that it's all about people, right? Now, if you look at, once you understand this common parameter, basically, then we break it down into a few areas, right? First being, at AFour, we say that each person is a personality, right? It's true with everybody. The way person is born, brought up, go through experiences, learnings, and so on and so forth. However, beyond the personalities, all of us are human beings, isn't it? Right? So we are human beings, and we have some desires, right? So we always like to be in company of people, right? So, however, we classify people as introvert, extrovert and things like that. But in general, we like to be in the part, as a part of society. Now, okay, one important aspect here is the sense of purpose, sense of achievement, and all. But social need, that social connect element, is equally important, right? In the pre-pandemic days, we used to spend around 8 hours in the office, right? Which is equivalent, if we divide our day, as much time we used to spend at home, other than our sleeping time, the equal amount of time we used to spend in the office and at home. So that connect with the people, right? That need was satisfied while we were in the office, and that's why profession played an important role, or plays an important role in life of an individual, right? So this is one aspect. Second parameter I'd like, or rather second dimension I will add to this, is the economy, right? Past few years or a decade or so, or more than that, it has become a global economy, right? So every person, every working person in one part of the world is dependent somehow on the many people on several parts of the world, right? So basically, if we understand this fact that for me, there are so many dependent peoples in the other part of the world. Once we start appreciating this part, then we realize that we need to understand our customers better. We need to understand our partners, our suppliers, or customers of our customers better. So this is important element, right? That is today's need, basically, right? So because if we do that, then we can put some good foundation for customer delivery experience, customer engagement, and customer satisfaction, right? So this is the basic need for that. Third dimension to it is the business philosophy itself, right? Each organization has, for example, values, business philosophy. Take most of the organization, right? Earning money is never been the only goal of all these known or reputed organizations, right? So they have, of course, there is a spirit of competitions, goals, milestones, achievement, business viability, and so on and so forth. There's no doubt about that. However, beyond that, right, organizations are purely set of values which define them, isn't it? There is a mission, right, which is the organizational belief, right? So that's what we call as a mission, and a vision, so organizational dream, right? So these are the ones that define the organization, right? For example, at AFour, the business philosophy is that we want to be known for a customer care, predictability, reliability, integrity, and creativity, right? We want to be a team-based, informal culture, fun working. We want an organization with happy customers, happy employees, happy suppliers, happy shareholders, and so on and so forth. We also believe in giving back to the community, right? So these are some of the values that we cherish, that we respect, that we practice, and this is true for every organization. So looking at it, the social connect, the global economy aspect, and then the respect for the customer, delivery excellence, engagement, employee engagement, and the values, right, core values of the organization, right, business philosophy. These are the things where HR people play a very crucial role, right? And that's what Neha and team, they've been doing with us, is that they need to understand these dimensions and vertices and then build the HR strategy, right? And then use that, which will include the common minimum program, I would say, as is popularly known, which will cover all these dimensions to the fullest, right? And that is what I believe is the thing that HR should know and HR should do for in any good organization. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mahesh, for sharing your thoughts and enlightening us with some amazing insights there. The point on 3 important dimensions was so beautifully explained. And obviously our business philosophy of having team-based, fun working environment, and the vision of having happy customers, happy employees, happy suppliers, and happy shareholders is again something so heartwarming. Thank you so much once again. Now, I'd like to invite Ms. Neha Chadha to share her thoughts on the same.
Yeah, thank you, Anirban. Thank you, Tanvi, for the great introduction and giving me an opportunity to be a part of this event. Coming to the question, I second Mahesh in all the relevant points that he's covered. And in addition to recognition, giving rewards, appreciating, making employees understand our vision and business philosophy, in my opinion, communication is the key for HR. In today's world, when everything is changing in a jiffy, it is important for anyone in HR to know how to stay connected with the employees, and more so to make them feel a part of the extended family and not just employees. It's all the more important now because back then, when all of us were working from office, it was easy for us to actually look at a person, understand the body language, and figure out that he or she is disturbed, which is actually difficult now. If an employee appears disturbed, it was very easy for us to know when we were working from the office premises. But now, when you talk to them over the phone, have online meetings, it's not very easy. So for us, it is important that we to be effective rather today and tomorrow. We'll all have to find innovative ways to stay connected with the employees, share newer ideas, find new ways of building rapport with them, and that's when we will improve overall.
Wow. Thank you so much, Neha, for sharing your thoughts and enlightening us with some power-packed insights there. So true, very rightly mentioned, as you said, and thank you for putting a stress on the importance of staying connected with the employees and making them feel at home and a part of the extended family. Thank you so much for that. So, in a recent conference of women CEOs, I heard that behind every successful woman at work was she herself. When I was invited to speak, I just added that behind an outrageously successful woman was an astronized mother-in-law. Jokes apart, it's time to delve deep into the topic. So the next common question to the panelists present here today is, how could HR as a function step up and stand out as a strategic change leader in the ever-changing digital workspace? I'd like to invite Mr. Mahesh Kulkarni once again to share his thoughts on the same.
That's another, yes, Anirban, that's another important question, and I will definitely like to share my views on this. See, it's basically when we divide a journey of an individual, right, two important phases that we can think of with respect to organization is the ones the person joins the organization. That's one important phase, right? And I'll come back, I'll tell you why in a moment. But the second important, equally important, is the daily life of the person in the organization, right? It's daily connect with the organization, right? Now, basically, when you join a new organization, you become a part of new vision, mission, business philosophy, as I just mentioned, right? All the things that organization is about, basically. So, first thing HR should do, right, is to make sure that they have excellent assimilation, excellent amalgamation experience, right, for the new people, right? So imagine when you must have experienced this, or some of us have definitely experienced this, that when we go to new localities, new cities, when our parents got transferred or we ourselves moved on for the job purpose and all. So what do we do? When we go to the new locality, what do? We get some new friends, right? First and foremost, we try to connect with people there, even though we know that we are going to be here temporarily, right? You may have been a part of an event or so, right? You just go for some time, but then best thing that you enjoy, right, or rather important thing that you do is try to connect with people, right? That's how we are, right? So the reason is that we want to enjoy our time there, and it is true with the organization also, basically, isn't it? So in the professional life, as I just mentioned, we spend 8 days approximately, right, with our colleagues or at workplace, right? So then basically that special relationship, right, that with the colleagues, or even when we are working with the client, right, that satisfies our social connect need to a great extent, right? So this is the important aspect behind, actually. Secondly, when we do so, this whole angle of connect brings in the taking care of each other as a team, right? Once you are bonded, then you are taking care of each other, covering for each other, sharing, right, going beyond, right, your own private goals or personal goals or individual goals, and kind of adding value for others also, right, in the organization. That can happen only when this connect part comes into picture. So then that team spirits, right, all those things come when the most important thing is you should get connected. In my personal life, some of the best friends that I've I've made was either in my previous organization or in the current organization, AFour, right? For last several years I'm working. Some of my best friends I've got here, right? That is the importance of getting connected, right? Then they are become the friends for your life. It's not that just you are a professional colleague, right? Actually, they are, that is real essence of life. This is the real joy of being a professional, right? So that's one important angle. The times are now changing, right? As you rightly said, this whole digitalized workspace is getting a big change in the whole system, right? So this is where working from home is just like the online schooling program, right? That is for the kids nowadays, right? So this is how the connect that my younger 7 years is having now versus she had a couple of years ago or a year ago, right? There's a big difference there, right? Actually, and that is what this whole online thing is bringing to our life. So we need to be cognizant of this part, right? So this is one aspect. Now, another element, if you look at it from again the human psychology angle or human being angle, is that the one of the great virtue that we've received as a human being is the curiosity part, right? So we being curious about certain things, right? Actually, and that is one of the reasons maybe this cognitive revolution that has happened best in us compared to any other species on this planet, right? If I'm correct. So each of us have great desire to explore things, try out things, experience things, so on and so forth, right? So this is another important aspect. But going beyond this, even importantly more is that basically all of us have this great desire for recognition, right? So exploring curiosity is one aspect. But if you look at it, we have great liking, right? Or rather, we want to appreciate others, and more than that, we want to get appreciated, right? And that's why this all social media platforms like Facebook, Insta, and all maybe becoming they've become so popular, right? So this is another thing. So basically, what we should do is that when we explore something, right? So this is where HR can add a lot of value, right? So when somebody explores something, that sense of achievement is great. But when someone gets appreciation, that that achievement is recognized, right? That sense of achievement that increases multifold, right? That is one reason. Secondly, that brings is that recognition gives you the validation that you achieved something great, right? So this is another aspect of recognition. So HR, especially in this current situation, should make sure that they have a very good ecosystem for recognizing and rewarding achievements by people, right? This is one element actually, right? So how do we create these opportunities, right, for exploring things, right? Not necessarily everyone can get those opportunities on one's own. So this is where HR can put people in the organization on this journey of continuous improvement, right? Continuous improvement is the term that we commonly use at AFour. Normally people term it as innovation, right? This continuous improvement is easy to relate and understand, right? So HR should build the environment of continuous improvement. It provides great platform for people to explore things, try out things, and achieve interesting results, right? A lot of miracles can happen through this. So in the summary, if HR needs to stand out as a change leader, these are a few things that they should build ecosystem where people should now believe in the mission of the organization, they're happy with the vision of the organization, and then respect the value. Hence, they are bonded well with the organization. Every person should try, right? Every person should try out new things to help customers and getting rewarded and recognized for that spirit of innovation. So this is what I think HR should do to stand out. Thank you.
Wow, this is so amazing. Thank you for that. The example of online classes is so apt, I think. I mean, this is so true. I'm sure everyone would be able to relate to it, at least during the pandemic and beyond maybe. Employee recognition, I must say, is one of the most important pillars for any organization. And once again, thank you for sharing some mind-blowing insights there. Now, I'd like to invite Ms. Neha Chadha to share her thoughts on the same.
Yes, a very relevant question, Anirban. And I would like to continue on what Mahesh has already discussed with us. As a strategic change leader, HR will basically have to integrate business goals with people strategy, We'll have to find ways to reduce attrition, which is again a very important aspect. Rather, when I say reducing attrition, I look at it by in a way that we preempt the resignations so that we stop employees from leaving the organization when the first thought comes to their mind. HR should have such a rapport with the employees that with the engineering managers, they should be able to understand when the first thought comes, because by the time we receive resignations, it is too late. The person has already made up the mind. Then it is like you're doing a damage control. You're not stopping the thing when there is the first thought that comes to a person's mind. So to have all of this in place, we need to be innovative in ever changing digital workplace. Most importantly, again, one more point that I would like to add here is when HR collaborates with every division of the company, it needs not necessarily be engineering per se. It has to be all the departments, be it finance, be it marketing, and find innovative ways to achieve excellence. That is when, as a function, we'll step up and stand out.
Wow, so true. I mean, the point about finding the trigger is bang on. I mean, only organization who really cares for their employees could only think on those lines. Even the famous people first policy is something that we would completely agree with. And once again, thank you for sharing some amazing points there. Essentially, what we understood from the amazing discussion and from the inspirational leaders present here is organizing regular check-ins exclusively for work, social interaction, or emotional support is a great way to establish a balanced structure suited to managing a remote workforce and to strengthen the relationships. Promoting open dialogue and installing direct communication channels between all levels within an organization will help keep leadership informed of employee concerns. Finally, introducing diversity, equality, and inclusion policies and programs will help bolster organizational culture and create an environment that promotes trust, unity, empathy, and engagement. Moving on to our next part. So let me begin the second part of our insightful discussion once again with Mr. Mahesh Kulkarni. In any organization, upskilling plays a very important role, irrespective of the departments or management levels. How did you make sure employees stay up to date during the ongoing pandemic? Mahesh, over to you.
Yes, Anil. So, see, this pandemic, as you rightly said, has provided a big challenge to all of us. Right? That is for sure. But then, as they always say, that solutions are born, right? Not the solution. Solutions are born before the problem, right? All we need to do is just find the most elegant or most practical solution and apply that, implement that, right? This is true. So as I mentioned, right, the curiosity is a great virtue and sense of achievement is a great addition to that, right? So this is like two things again came to our help in this difficult time. So in AFour we promoted work from home like most of the organization. But what we told people, right, Neha and team, what we've emphasized during this whole period is that see, we have a additional time with us now, right? We've been commuting, right, for like so much time of our day, right, and to and fro. So we got that additional time, right? As we have this phrase, buying time for something, buying time for buying time, right? So what do you mean by buying time, right? So this means there is a commodity, important commodity called time, which can be utilized. And we told people that basically do time management such that you spend some of this additional time that you got with your family, right, your dear ones, but at the same time utilize this time in learning, experimenting new things, right, honing the new skills, building new competencies, and kind of honing those competencies, right? This is what we kind of kept talking about. Secondly, AFour is is a primarily a technology house, right? So that's where we are fortunate to have these great opportunities for working with the high-tech customers, high-tech projects, being part of several product engineering initiatives for our customers, right? So this is by design that we have with us basically. So there's ample opportunity people have, right, for learning new tools, technologies, frameworks, architectures, and things like that actually, and apply them. Not necessarily just learn and forget about it, but they can also apply, right? So we have various means where people can apply it and show some value added to the project and get rewarded for that basically, right? I mean, are recognized and rewarded by HR and the management. So HR and managers are taking this conscious care of making sure that people are recognized and rewarded time to time. So that's where this whole angle of connect also comes into picture, right? So we are all become during we have this event called AFour Meet, right? We make sure that all the achievements are recognized company wide. So this is instead of our town hall kind of meetings, they've become more of a virtual online company wide meetings. This is handled very well by HR. So I must appreciate HR and senior management team for that. So basically, another aspect that is that remote working is automatically helping individuals to articulate their thoughts very well and present them effectively, right? This is happening automatically. So this is just by design, things are taking place. So higher level of work-life integration, helping people prioritize the personal requirements, personal important tasks, and professional tasks, and manage that time well. So this thing which was absent when I'm in the office for 8 hours, my focus has been in the office, right? So I didn't have to do time management, prioritization. So this is happening automatically, right? And because of this, you'll be amazed that this is helping in the high predictability and better estimation of the deliverables, right? So we have never been so good in terms of predictability, right, if I may say so. So some of the learning and upskilling happening automatically, as I said, and because of this new style of working, people are adapting to it, and some by the conscious efforts by HR to recognize and reward the improvements that are done by the people.
Wow. Again, I agree with all your points there. And I must say, acquiring new skills and honing or upgrading the existing skills is one of the most important things for any professional out there. I mean, also we all need our regular doses of motivation to keep us going. Once again, thank you for sharing some amazing insights. Moving on to our next panelist, Ms. Neha Chadda. Neha, how did you deal with employee engagement during the pandemic and your thoughts on the new normal?
Yeah, so again, a very relevant question. 2020 and even now, it's been an unprecedented year indeed. Mankind never witnessed a pandemic like this in the past. And by virtue of it, human beings are social animals. The biggest challenge we faced is not seeing each other. Though, as an organization, we were well equipped for work from home kind of a scenario because we've been very flexible in terms of work from home. It was a policy even before the pandemic hit us. But now, when it was all of a sudden told to everyone that we'll have to start working from home, all the processes went online. And personally speaking, as an HR professional, I never thought that things like onboarding, induction, resolving queries, all of that can happen through Google Meet, which became something favorite for all of us, right? So the challenge I think HR as a fraternity faced is how to add a human element to online meetings, which was indeed very, very difficult. We thought of new ways of dealing with it. So we organized certain things like family concert, where we invited families to attend the function, rather participate in it. We had performances, dance performances, poetry, singing by the family members. We also organized Bollywood quiz, bingo, Zumba sessions. And in addition to all of this, we all faced that one phase, in wherein all of us were anxious, all of us were stressed. And we all come across, when we sit in the meetings, we come across as very strong individuals. And mind you, that's the necessity of the hour, though. But then there have been times when all of us came to know for the first time that there is a COVID positive case in the nearby vicinity. And all of us were rattled, right? We thought that why? And oh my God, will it hit me as well? So to deal with such thoughts, we organized coaching sessions on breathing exercises, meditation, and that was conducted by an industry expert. This helped us in coming together, staying connected as an organization and deal with this.
Wow, kudos to you and your team, Neha, for the amazing initiatives you have taken during the pandemic. My personal favorite was obviously the Bollywood quiz and the family concert we're talking about.
Thank you.
The new normal is about work-life integration than work-life balance, isn't it? And once again, thank you for sharing some interesting insights. So here comes a famous quote from Mark Twain. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming task into small, manageable tasks, and then starting on the first one. So, taking some cue from the above quote, let me go back to Mr. Mahesh Kulkarni once again for another round of interesting discussion. So the next question to Mahesh is, what are your thoughts on the importance of companies' culture and diversity in achieving superior business performance?
Yeah,
Over to you.
absolutely. Right. I think talked a bit about this in my earlier questions that you asked. But you're right. Culture is very, very important. Right. We all know that. Right. But what is culture? Right. If you ask this question to ourselves, culture, according to me, it is set of values, right, that we believe in, right, and that we put into practice and also celebrate these values, right. This is in a nutshell, if a simple definition of culture, right. So these are the things that these are the values that we are proud of and we like, we want to cherish, and these are the ones we generally pass on to the next generations, right. So this is essentially in a simple sense, a culture for me. Now, diversity is something that makes culture richer, right? So, and who else than us Indians can realize this better, isn't it? So, diversity is an added, catalyst to the culture, basically, right? So, this is very, very important element. These two things are very, very important. This is how one organization is different than the other organization. Otherwise, the kind of hardware I'm using in one organization, typical IT organization, laptops or servers or networking gadgets, typically most of the organization would be similar infrastructure, isn't it? So what is the difference, right? So it is that aspect of culture that is very, very important. Set of values. So some of the values in AFour that we believe, right, are empathy, then ownership, respect, freedom, objectivity in communication, and recognition, right? So these are some of the things that we are very particular about. So the customer engagement, customer focus, employee customer care, employee engagement, employee focus is achieved by these values combined. For example, empathy. If I talk about empathy at AFour, we treat customers as an extended family, right? Okay, many places people say customer is God, but we treat customer as our extended family, a close friend or a partner, right? That's how we like to treat our customers. The kind of empathy that we have for our dear ones, right? We want to have our team similar empathy for the customers. Now, empathy also helps in seniors taking care about the junior, as it happens in the family or friends, right? And eventually you take care of them and enable them for success, right? This should happen not because of just some of the KRAs are given to you. This should happen out of empathy, that value of culture in the organization, right? This is why it's important. Secondly, once the empathy is practiced, the sense of ownership comes automatically, right? So we all know that, right? In the family, right? You don't have to say that mother has to cook food for for the family, right? This is out of empathy, right? This is out of care. That comes, that sense of ownership. No one is setting that KRA for the mother, right? At home, right? So this is how it is important. That empathy, ownership comes automatically. So the people become more predictable. Once the ownership is there, people become more predictable, more reliable, ready to accept mistakes early upfront, and that brings in the predictability, right? No surprises, right? So this is very, very important. Because of this, once people understand, taking this ownership, then building agile teams is very easy, isn't it? Right? Because then everybody is predictable, right? We know. So running at a faster pace becomes easier, right? Actually, okay. So that is important. So in many projects, we practice this pull work culture, right? We don't say no, push won't be there. You just pull the work, right? Actually, and then people would act on that. And more the work that you output, that you contribute to, output as in this the quality and productivity of the individual actually, then the more faster growth you will have, right? The faster growth you will have and better recognition you will have, and recognition will automatically getting that respect in the organization, right? And that's sheerly out of your output, your performance, and delivery excellence. This is out, again, out of culture aspect, right? There's no regimental system that we have. Freedom and respect empowers power to innovate, right? They do continuous improvement, right? Because this is the freedom is given, ownership is there, I understand my responsibilities, right? And then basically I'm being respected for what I bring to the table, right? It's like I'm getting recognized and reward, right? So this is where people automatically continuously improve the things, and they strive for achievement, recognition, and respect, right? This is how this whole human psyche is there basically. And objectivity in communication, that helps us in scaling the teams, right? Because effectively breaking down the problem and solving the problem is the focus, right? Many a times when the discussions there are, if you see in a lot of the these meetings, there are opinions kind of shared, there are emotions shared, right? Like onus is kind of talked about and things like that. But there is information also that gets shared, and that is very, very important. So during our typical training programs, we tell people that just filter out all this emotional angle, filter out about all this opinion angle, and focus on the information, insights, and act on that. Once that happens, basically scaling becomes easy, right? So now these values, which I believe is nothing but is a culture about, that is very, very important in AFour's growth.
Mind-blowing, Mahesh. Mind-blowing, that is. Empathy, sense of ownership, and going that extra mile for one's own value is so important in today's organizational setup, isn't it? Like, as you mentioned, culture is our value system and a shared way of doing something with a passion. And when we listen and celebrate what is both common and different, we become a wiser, more inclusive, and a better organization. Thank you, Mahesh, for your insights there. Now moving on to Ms. Neha Chadda. Neha, what new policies did AFour Technologies introduced during the pandemic, and how it has benefited the employees? Over to you, Neha.
Yeah, so there were a lot of things that changed last year. So was the way in which we had to deal with it. All of us started working from home, and we thought that this is going to continue for some time. It's like back then when pandemic hit us, it was March 2020, and we all thought that it might take some time, 3 to 6 months, and definitely it will end. And honestly speaking, towards January, February timeframe, we did have hope. Even now, we see light at the end of the tunnel. But during January, February timeframe, we thought that this will come to an end. But somehow, as an organization, we had this vision that this will not end too soon. And thus, we introduced internet allowance back in the month of June. So all of us get internet allowance as a part of our salary in the time frame when most of the companies were laying off and IT was hit the worst. So IT people used to always say, I'm not very sure how long will I continue to work. So in the month of July, when most of the people from IT industry had this fear, we started giving away performance incentives. Those were given to high achievers, people who contributed day in and day out in spite of the pandemic, in spite of the emotional turmoil that they were going through. We thought that it is time to recognize their efforts, and we started performance incentive. There were employees, in some cases, even their family members, where they were affected by COVID 19. And last year, now we have pretty stable medical infrastructure available. Doctors know the line of treatment. But last year, it was little jittery when we used to come to know that somebody is detected with COVID 19. And no one had actually planned for this pandemic, right? So we thought that we should do something differently, something extra for employees, and we introduced COVID 19 insurance. This was something apart from the medical insurance policy that we already had in place. We thought that introducing this will give people some peace of mind and they can plan things if at all someone is affected in the family. Again, one additional thing which I'm extremely proud of in sharing, when the other organizations were laying off, when economy was hit badly, we saw economic downturn. We initiated performance appraisal process in December 2020 and we completed in January 2021. We had appraisals happening when most of the people were facing salary cuts, where most of the people were facing getting laid off from the companies, something like that. We were one of the very few companies that had appraisals during this time frame.
Big round of applause for all the policies introduced by AFour. I mean, no layoffs during the pandemic, and on top of it, appraisals and performance incentives were just too good. I mean, hats off to the management and you and your team. Yeah. I must say we all got benefited from the amazing policies that were introduced during the pandemic. Internet allowance and COVID-19 insurance for employees were some of the champion policies introduced. It helped us cope up with the pandemic better. After all, the secret of change is to focus all your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. As we are approaching to the end of our amazing session today, let's have some fun. Brace yourselves for some rib-tickling, funny answers and to know some secrets. Let me start our rapid fire round. And this time, let's roll the dice the other way. If you have guessed it right, yes. Let's begin with Neha now. And let's find some answers that is very close to her heart. So, the first question to Neha. Work from home or work from office?
I would say a blend of both. I have a 10 years old kid at home. So initially when we went into the lockdown phase, I thought that, this is a great opportunity to be at home because I used to get up at 5:30 to make him ready. Then he used to go to school. The next phase was getting ready myself and go to office. So I thought, oh my God, this is great. You can work from home and you can plan your day like that. But then sooner you realize that human resources as a function, it's very difficult not to see people because that's why we are called as human resources. So basically, I would like to have a blend of both, work from home and work from office.
Perfect. So the next question is, who do you admire the most? Professional or personal? Anything, any option?
Interesting question. I admire Simon Sinek the most because he is an inspirational speaker. I connect to his thoughts very well. And he is an author as well. I actually absolutely loved the book Start With Why. So if you want to be an inspirational leader, every one of us should read that book, which says Start With Why. All of us are always into, those questions, answering those questions of should I start? What would be the end result? He's explained it so well that you can connect to the thoughts just in a minute.
That's great. Now the next question is, describe yourself in 3 words.
Approachable, the first one. Committed and compassionate.
Oh, that's so true. Now, the next question. If you have access to a time machine, where would you go and why?
Very nice question. And it's a no-brainer, college days, because there's a lot of excitement when you're in college. You can look forward to shaping up your future. And at the same time, the most important thing is that you have no responsibilities.
Wow, perfect answer. College days. Everyone can relate to it, I'm sure. I mean, it is one of the important phases of our lives, and we really enjoyed those days. So the next question: if you were stranded on a tropical island, what things would you want with you?
First and foremost, a satellite phone to stay connected with family and friends. And secondly, a camera to capture the beauty of tropical island.
Wow, now this is amazing. Well, I think time machine is a must-have tool for all of us now. And if I were to go to a tropical island, I would rather pick a gallon of filled with mojito before anything else, maybe. I don't know, but yeah. Now let's move on to Mahesh and find out some deep secrets. I'm sure this is going to be interesting. So the first question to Mahesh is, name one other company and CEO who inspires you and why.
If I need to see, there are many good, nice companies and all respected CEOs. But then if I need to pick up one at this point in time, I would say the company would be Microsoft, and the CEO is of course Satya Nadella. Right? Because many successful companies and names like Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Sundar Pichai, Shantanu Narayan, Zuckerberg, Arvind Krishna, you can just name them, right? Actually, it's just they've done great things. But Satya comes from the similar background of a modest, educated Indian family, like many of us, right? And he's the one who picked up this the leadership of this whole big conglomerate, right? The enterprise, high-tech enterprise, and then it just changed. It's like it's all a lot of positivity we have seen in the organization in terms of business, in terms of even he's the one who's changed the mission statement, right? If I'm correct, actually. So earlier mission was a PC or computer at every desk or every home. Now it says something like empower every person and every organization in planet to achieve more, right? So it's a big thing, right? And we've seen Microsoft doing great, right? I mean, so many acquisitions. Some of the well-knowns are LinkedIn, GitHub, right? And stock price and valuation of Microsoft. I think around 2014, he took the reins, and then of course, I'm sure there's a lot of guidance and there's excellent team around. But overall, I see the company is very good at building Microsoft as a company is very good at building the products for the intended customer base, which is non-technical people, which is like non-technocrats, business kind of people, or laymen, as well as they have a great customer support experience. So Microsoft.
Well, yes, most of us have the same feeling about Satya Nadella. Thank you for sharing that. What do you do in your free time, Mahesh?
Okay, so let me out the secret, basically. So this whole pandemic time was a great time for me to contemplate and explore inside. One of the things I realized that I always wanted to learn singing, right? I was fond of that, but only privilege I had was while I was bathing, right? So then I kind of tried taking some classes, some online classes, and this is something wonderful that has happened in the pandemic, that you can learn singing and you are not worried about the expressions of your teacher because it's they're coaching on the phone or internet. So yeah, the confidence is there. So I do practice singing, and then I go on trek at times. Post this lockdown, I go on trek, walk in the trails. Pune, we have fortunately have many such places. Also, I relax and be with my family. There are good times, especially over weekends and evenings and at relaxed times. And nowadays, this whole OTT content that's pouring at you. So I enjoy some of it. Good thing about OTT is like there's a lot of content available, reviews are available, so you can be picky and choosy about what you want to see, but all good ones. And yeah, last but not the least, but I try to keep myself up to date with this whole latest interesting things in the technology industry. Right? This is our bread and butter. So that's what I do.
Oh, that's great to know. All the best with your singing. Uh, yes, we'd love to see you sing for AFour Technology someday.
Yes. Maybe because I hope we have special insurance for that as a policy.
So the next question is, imagine you could have a dinner party with any 4 people in the world. Who would be on your invite list?
Wow, this is a tough one for a rapid fire. Huh? All right. See, I mean, I could either choose, people from 4 different generations. It would be easy to understand their views about. It's interesting to see. But if I'm, basically allowed to choose wisely, then I would, by the way, I assume the cook is going to be there, right? If not, the first choice is cook.
No, the cook is going to be there already, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, great. So then maybe I'll take one person from some of the areas of my interest. For example, sports. I'm a big fan of. And then Mary Kom would that name that comes to my mind because the Indian boxing champion, 6 times world boxing championship winner basically. So that's some name basically, right? To understand the life, because again, I'm starting from very simple life. Someone has come to that great extent, so that would be interesting to understand that journey. Second, again, as I mentioned, music is another hobby. So first name that comes to my mind is AR Rahman. Right? So he's like a famous music composer. Again, starting with as his early life, it's very tough conditions, and then kind of become a great personality. It'd be interesting to know his journey. Literature, it would be J.K. Rowling, right? Again, somebody started from difficult times to become the first maybe a billionaire author, if I'm correct. So that's somebody I would like to hear about. And last but not the least is somebody who's a great personality from our own industry, entrepreneur, great philanthropist, Mr. Azim Premji. He's the guy I would like to love to hear him out. Actually, love to understand. And what else could be a great place? As a great dinner, as you mentioned, by a great chef. So that would be a dream party.
I must say you've got an impressive list there. J.K. Rowling and Azim Premji is my personal favorite. And yes, that's an amazing list.
Thank you.
Yeah. So next question is, if you were a superhero, what powers would you like to have?
Wow. All the powers of all the Avengers. Yeah, it's like, I think, yeah, this whole superhero thing, yeah. Interestingly, honestly, at the moment, if somebody makes me superhero or I happen to become one, and then somebody gives me some wish, to have that superpower, I would want to, have a skill or power where I can decompose plastic at will. That's just, by looking at it or by my will, I would like to decompose a lot of this plastic around.
Lovely that is, like, coming from a powerful leader, a message on green environment is something really amazing. Thank you for that. Again, the next question is, what is your dream car?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So this is simple one, I believe, because I've been, fond of SUVs. So I remember when this Duster thing was new in India, I did a bit of a running around to get that one. But I wanted to always travel across India, off roads, different terrains and all. But there are great vehicles, and if I am allowed to pick one now, as a special thing, I would go for something like Land Rover Discovery or Land Rover Defender, right? Take it to places. So, yeah, that's something I would dream about.
Mind blowing this is. Thank you for that. By the way, I would also like to add that there is a superhero in all of us. We just need the courage to put on the capes. Now, let me take a pause to absorb all the mind blowing insights we received today from the eminent panelists present here. Once again, a sincere gratitude to the esteemed panelists. The floor is open for questions now. Please ask your questions on the chat box and someone from the team would go ahead and share the same with us. I also must add, due to time constraint, we would be able to take only 2 to 3 questions. So, yeah. So let me just pull, I'm already getting a few questions. Yeah. So there is a question from Saurabh Singh. Life is about balancing your professional life and personal life. Both aspects of life are submerged. How do you manage the situation the best way possible, and what is the future ahead looks like?
Yes. So I mean, absolutely right. Because as I mentioned in some of this earlier discussions that we are having, it is it's always going to be. I mean, this is at the highest level. This is the best possible work-life integration that one can think of, right? It's like you have to. The important aspect is that you have to look at the whole life from the holistic perspective. You cannot kind of categorize this is my professional and this is my personal life. Again, as you have to treat the organization as an extended family, and you have to be very very transparent. I mean, not too sure whether all this philosophy of weekdays and weekends and all that pattern, how long this will continue. But one will have to prioritize. Time has become important because all of a sudden you can do so many things on the personal front as well as a professional front. You will have to wisely choose the time factor, and you have to create all that nice backlog of the important things that you want to achieve, the goals in the personal life and the professional life, and then you'll have to kind of prioritize them and act iteration basis, make progress. But yes, it's going to stay there for some time.
Thank you, Mahesh, for answering that. Now, I think we have another question from Shivanand Bicheshwar. What are the new challenges HR has to help in productivity? Like how HR can maybe navigate the challenges of productivity during this pandemic is what he's asking.
Yeah, so I can take this one, Anirban. As I understand, if I'm understanding this correctly, this is like how can HR help in increasing the productivity, or how can HR contribute in this in specific? So, as I pointed earlier, also basically now that all of us are operating from home, HR will have to stay connected with people and understand in terms of their project comfort level. If they have any issues with respect to the project, with respect to other dimensions there. For that, we are also coming up with different policies. We have every year in the month of April, we work on the policies and make certain changes. So this year that is on cards. And in fact, what we are trying to do is try to understand what is going to be the best way in terms of dealing with employees, understanding their issues. And as HR professional, again, I personally feel that if they are at peace, if they are thinking that, okay, this is the place that I have to work, and this is the project that where I work, I'll be happy. So that's where we'll have to, talk to them frequently. We'll have to have one-on-ones with them frequently, understand their issues, put it across to the right person. Because what happens is things fall through cracks when things are discussed amongst people where it is not necessary. Tomorrow, if I have some challenge and I discuss it with my peer, it results into not conversations, but at a later point gossips. Rather than that, you have to put across the question to the right person, and HR will have to play a pivotal role here in terms of orienting people in reaching right people, in terms of getting answers, and that is how, as an organization, overall we'll contribute to the productivity.
Wow, perfect. Thank you for taking that up, Neha, and answering the question.
Thank you.
Now we have another question, and I think should be the last question because due to time constraint, we will not take any more question as of now. So this is the last question that we have. So this is from Vipul. Were there any suggestions or feedbacks from our clients during the pandemic on the way of working or the style of working?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, there are like not many suggestions as such, because this is a global phenomenon, right? It's not that has happened to something specific to one part of the world, right? It's like they're everywhere, right? So everybody is going through the same phase, same experience. So, but good thing that has happened in this whole, due to this pandemic, is that people are now, figuring out how to delegate, how to work remotely, how to collaborate, working remotely, right? Because earlier there was, very specific kind of tasks or projects that used to assignments of projects or activities that used to, people used to delegate. But now, there's more, involvement, like more challenging projects, more challenging work that is being passed on. And this new element of video conferencing, all collaboration tools, online, working together, kind of environment that is happening. So it's not something that is consciously said, okay, you should do this. People are adapting, and that's working out well. Good news is that I am amazed with this infrastructure. People are working in AFour. People are working in various parts of India, right? And in spite of that, we don't see any challenges when it comes to the productivity. Customers are happy, and this whole challenge of scaling the teams, building, expanding team, expanding, training, right? Reviews. That's happening very well. So I'm amazed with this infrastructure, and I believe that this whole online thing is going to be a very beneficial thing as far as Indian industry is concerned. So IT industry is concerned. So good.
Thank you, Mahesh, for taking that up and answering the question. Moving on. So, yes, rightly said, digital is a savior in times like this when the only way to operate is in a remotely distributed environment. The crisis has presented the IT industry with an opportunity to empower businesses with technology and further emphasize the focus on innovation to survive and thrive. It is heartening to see the commitment of the workforce during these trying times. Striking a balance currently is the key to effectively forge a path towards the future of work. As and when era of COVID recedes, and as and when we emerge gingerly out of the time warp that started in March 2020, with or without post-traumatic stress disorder, I was wondering, will we ever experience bouts of nostalgia for a period that held us hostage to an undefinable ransom? Well, I'm thinking yes, not because of Stockholm syndrome and capture bonding and all those masochistic cheeks, but because we have created some genuine memories there. Zoom parties and home cooking and working from home in boxers and tees. Reminds me of a famous quote by Steve Jobs. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the one who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while we some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius, because the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. With this, we come to the end of this particular wonderful event. Our sincere thanks to Mr. Mahesh Kulkarni for taking time out of his busy schedule and for graciously accepting the invitation. Your dedication and commitment to AFour Technologies is an inspiration for all of us. And I must also thank you for the mind-blowing insights. Some really cool examples, and how could we ever forget the inspiring dinner invitee list of yours. Thank you, Ms. Neha Chadda, for accepting the invitation and enlightening us with your thoughts. You are an asset to AFour Technologies, and we all are awestruck with your well thought out and employee-friendly policies. I must also thank you for the great insights and for reminding us about our college days. Thank you, Neha. Last but not the least, I'd like to thank everyone else who took out time from their busy schedules to attend this amazing session with Mahesh and Neha. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your time today, and have a wonderful evening ahead. Happy weekend.
Thank you, Anirban. Thank you, Neha. Thank you, Tanvir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Good day and happy weekend. Take care.